Network Entertainment.
This is brought to you by Meralco.
Hello everyone, I'm Ryan Macasero. Thank you for joining us on Breaking Down the Buzz with the Public Relations Society of the Philippines, one of 12 episodes of a podcast. And we are going to talk today about making the switch from journalism to public relations. And I am a multimedia reporter and formerly of Rappler, and I am joined here today with Michelle Ople, managing partner of Ripple 8, to talk about her experience starting in the journalism world, making the move to PR. Thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. Hi, Ryan, and hi to all of the listeners, especially the students. I think we're going to have a really interesting discussion ahead.
So can you give us a little background about how you got started, first in the media, and why you made the switch to public relations?
Right. Actually, even straight off college, I already kind of planned that I would be in media. Coming off from RPN 9, seeing Kathy Santillan as an anchor, thinking, wow, it's such an interesting job. I want to be there. So I planned literally my college life to be a reporter. I took electives and I joined organizations that would lead me towards that. So fresh out of college, I applied in Business News Asia. It's a business magazine. And then later on, when I had the opportunity, I was able to join ANC, ABS-CBN, and then later on TV5. So I stayed, I think, a total of 15 years. I loved it. It was everything I dreamed of, and it, kept me really purposeful every single day. It's just that after a while, it gets really a risk to your health. No, hindi naman. It's hard. It became a bit harder, and not that it was emotionally hard, it was physically tasking. I'm also a diabetic. I got diagnosed after college, so I had to balance all of that in those 15 years. And towards the end of my career in TV5, which was actually at the time that it was actually just really taking off, but sadly for me, I just felt like I had to prioritize my health. I was also newly married, so I wanted to prioritize that as well. So just a change in priorities, and I would say the shift became clearer when I realized there's a lot of places I could also go, still doing storytelling, still talking to the media, but at a less hectic pace. You know it. You've been a reporter. I mean, tell me about your most challenging coverage. It would have probably been something na tumambling ka talaga physically.
So for when you were toward the end of your media stint, was it automatic na tatawid na ako ng PR, or was it something that you really had to contemplate and think about?
It was a very emotional journey. Actually, I saw myself only as a reporter my entire life, and I planned again my life around it. But in the course of being a business journalist, and I think that was the crucial part, I started off and ended as a business journalist. I expanded my network around that, and I felt like that's where I saw that there was corporate communications, there were PR agencies. So I explored around that because, very honestly, it was my comfort zone. I wanted to be in the same industry. I was actually covering energy at that time. So this is gasoline, electricity. So I was looking in that industry. I was trying to mindfully be in the same place that I was leaving, except that just in a different space of it. So it was a natural progression. What I didn't know was what it would look like in the other side. I have no corporate experience, at least at that time, or I had no corporate experience, and I didn't know about directors, media relations, nothing of that sort. I just came in there saying, okay, I've spent decades in the media. What can I bring? I can bring something to your table for sure, but what else can we work through together? And that's where it became clearer when I did the interviews. So when I tell my reporter friends that if you're gonna shift, it's nice to go through the process of the interviews, and then it becomes clearer. So it was a very long process. It was about 1.5 years of interviews, scouting the space, thinking, okay, no, I'll go back na lang. Diba? And falling in love with it again when you're about to leave something, and then eventually realizing, you know what, I have to make the leap.
So like, alam mo naman to na when people leave for PR, a lot of the feedback they get is, you're going to the dark side.
Oh,
or,
yeah.
Yeah, you're a sellout or ganon. Did you have any like reaction like that from your friends in the media or people when they found out that you were going to go into PR?
Yeah, I think I think your real friends would know why you're leaving. So they would trust that, you know, the light that you had wherever you were, you bring it to wherever you're going. So there were that. But there were also, some journalists who I guess saw PR a different way and sort of changed treatment as well when I went to the other side. I think the dark side feels more like judgment on the transactional part of PR, right? Transactional, not even talking about the unethical, right? Unethical part, but just the transactional part of I need my pickups, I need my outputs, you're the media, give it to me, right? So I think that there's a lot of hesitance for media. If you're you were a journalist, you are still a journalist, you don't like being dictated upon. And to be honest, in our industry, meron talaga, may mga sabi, uy, lumabas na ba? Uy, diba? And parang, that's not what a story is about, diba? So there's that myth, and myth/half reality, I guess. But what got me to really make the leap is knowing PR professionals who understood that good news is also news. And if you're part of traditional media, our news is disruptive.
Yeah.
It's negative. The most disturbing thing that would, wake up people and help them decide better. But the PR professionals that I had met insisted that there is good news. And that's the challenge, that if you're a storyteller, can you mine the good news and can you expound on it so that people will believe in humanity again? People will restore their faith in humanity. So people will be inspired to do good in their lives as well, or to, make the leap and make an impact. So those are the things that I took going on the other side, and those are the things that I try to expose as well my media friends to and my media partners to, that I'm not just selling you a hard sell story. This is a company that's doing well for the country. This is a person who succeeded despite the odds, right? And these are advocacies that deserve the spotlight in as much as this other news item does. So that kind of parrying just speaks to a collaboration now with the media. Okay, Mitch, I'll listen to you. What do you have to say? What does your client have to say? And that's, I think, one of the things that hopefully changed the game a bit. Na, okay, yes, there are dark sides. Yes, there will be transactions. Yes, there will be deliverables that my client will ask for. But we're both on the same page that we want to be impactful. We want to be purposeful. So, be the change you want to see. You think it's dark? Let's bring the light over, right? So I think, and in the same way, there's dark sides wherever.
Yeah, that's true. Also on the media side, we cannot claim to be, completely light on where the journalists stand. But being on that, having been on both sides, is there something that you think that journalists misunderstand about PR or being a PR practitioner? That, if you were to talk to them, what would you say?
Yeah, I think we touched on it earlier. The biggest misunderstanding is that it's hard sell, and that you're just there for something transactional. You just need your logo on the news, right? So I think that misunderstanding comes in large part of the reality that there are certain things that right now actually the PR industry is slowly really shifting as well. There's a lot of marketing that comes into it already. You can see companies merging their marketing departments with their public relation departments or communications departments. So that affects the news that they come out with, right? So there is that. But the thing with, again, being a storyteller is finding that nugget and finding the heart of that particular campaign or a product. So I do spend a lot of time talking to media partners, asking for their feedback, also collaborating that, is this a story that you think will land on your page? Is this a story that you think the producers will like? I talk to producers and I go, okay, this is my story. It's not like the most interesting one, but can we maybe angle it a certain way? So there's a lot of that. And I think that it's the collaboration that breaks that ceiling, that glass ceiling, so to speak. And I like calling it a glass ceiling because it's a barrier to entry. And a lot of the collaboration helps demystify the companies, the products, the services, the campaigns, and helps us work on something that's a story. And then they will tell me, masyadong hard sell, talk to the marketing department, and I'm like, sure, give me your marketing department. So it's the openness and collaboration that helps demystify all of that and helps us find something that's useful for both of us. And also, lastly, something that deepens the relationship. I think more than anything, it's really trust that will help PR succeed with what it needs to do. And if you have the trust of the media, you learn together. It's awesome.
Are there a lot of ex-journalists who actually do crossover? Like, what would you say the ratio is? Are ex-journalists the minority, or marami ba kayo sa PR?
I think even before I came into PR, it's a natural progression. But we did talk about this offline, the business challenges now of media. Media is a business. We would love for it to be the most, purpose-driven, just, tell the good story, chronicle history, but it's a business. And there have been shifts in those businesses. So now more than ever, there have been ex-journalists who have more come into this space because, again, it's the most natural space to come into. Some of them are exploring content creation on their own. Some of them are exploring their own channels because, we have liberalized, democratized information now. And a lot of them have been equipped for it. So there is more of that now. I would agree that there's more of them transferring simply because the businesses as institutions have been challenged, and that impacts the livelihood of people. And when take ABS-CBN for example, that particular shift was recorded in all research material, and it was a huge case study of what happens when a media business fails, right? Or is challenged. I wouldn't say failed, go ABS-CBN, right? But is challenged, and these are real people who lose their jobs. These are real people who have salary cuts. These are real people who have to now decide if this is something I can still stay in or can I take it somewhere else. So that particular environment, I think, many times over with other businesses, it's a reality. If your business is challenged, your people will leave, and sometimes they will have no choice but to.
So let's say I'm a recently, resigned or an ex-journalist. Is it going to be that easy na, okay, tatawid akong PR and then you'll get the job right away? Or
no.
What will the challenges they face be like?
Right. No. Wow, no. I just say no. The corporate side, what I love about it are the systems that are in place. We have our templates, how we write our news, how a package may go. The corporate setting also has their systems for reports, for metrics, for KPIs, right? And I think that's the part that we as journalists are not trained in. We're not trained in PowerPoint, in Excel, in every other software that creates those monitoring systems and all of that, because we don't have to do it. We just generate our content. But then now you have, especially I work in an agency. So an agency is by nature a service, right? So we are not part of their team. So our reports have to be super thorough, have to be absolutely every KPI checked. And I have learned in the agency how to do that. I've been in PR for 6 years. It took me maybe 2-3 years to get the concepts right, and then 3 years onwards to build on it. A lot of time versus just coming into this space and just actually kahit naman journalist, it takes you a while to understand how to report the news properly or even to modulate your voice properly, right? But for corporate, there's a lot of things that we have to understand matter to our clients, to our boss, and then learn it really fast, because you really have to be hitting the ground running, especially if you've been in journalism for a while and you come in maybe in your mid-30s. You have to hit the ground running. It's different if you're in your 20s. You have a lot of space to learn. You have your bosses. But if you come in a higher position, then there are bigger expectations. So yes, learn your Excel. Learn your PowerPoints. Canva na ata ngayon, di ba? So and just bring it with you. So yeah.
Okay.
Pointers ba ito? Joke
Yes.
lang.
So for the media industry globally is going through a very difficult time.
Right.
And I think a lot of journalists are looking for life outside of the media. What are some things that you wish you knew when you were in that space of making the transition out of media?
I'll go more into the things that I think that would benefit. So when you're in there, I think we were talking about this offline earlier. For PR, for example, your network is gold. That's your currency. So being kind to people around you, whether it's your reporter friends, older editors that you meet, producers, staff, they are the ones that will validate your position when you leave. So I came into media relations. That was my first job fresh out of being a reporter. And buti na lang, marami tayong friends na media. And buti na lang, wala akong nabastos. Diba? Hindi ako umatitude. Kasi sila rin pala yung bebentahan ko ng storya. Diba?
So it's important not to burn those bridges.
Do not burn bridges, and I think just be kind, really. Kasi there is not one big lesson siguro that I'm happy I didn't super mindfully have to think of, but has benefited me now. Is really just be kind to everybody, because one season is never isolated from the next. So, you can't say that, okay, I'll corporate na, I'll forget about all of this. Hindi. Whether or not you're in PR, these people are there to be with you in the next stage and even help, bringing all of those learnings and all of that network into your next stage will elevate the experience of wherever you are. So, being kind to your fellow reporters, being kind to your bosses, and not being transactional already off the bat, it builds the trust so that when you come to them later on, it helps really with the collaboration. And then with the sources, may mga nakakabuisit na sources that parang they make you feel like less than, human. But you learn from them and you endure. And when they see you endure, they can see your tenacity. When you move to the other side, they will remember. Baka sila pa yung next client mo. Kasi they will know that, this person understood me, understood where I was coming from. He can understand where the company is going. It's that kind of synergy.
Insights.
Yeah. So, sa akin, it's really just being so present where you are and then where you're going, and then understanding na may dagdag yun kung saan ka pupunta. So never take a moment for granted. Never think the season is just here and then I can do it better here without this. If you take it one one layer after another. Sobrang, it will enrich your experience moving forward.
Yeah, and diba, to be kind is not just applicable to the media industry, any industry
Any.
that you go into.
Oo, lalo na ito, ay specific to marketing and advertising. Talagang just every single person that you know can be part of that creative process next time. 'Di ba? Or if you become a boss in a company, the way you treat others, the way you'll treat your staff when you become that boss. So, sa akin, just be so in tune with everybody and just be so mindful of who they are, because this, there is no business that is not about people.
Yes.
I learned that from Simon Sinek. He had a talk earlier in one of the events that we helped handle, and he said that every business, it's a people business. If you don't understand people, your business will not succeed. So that goes blanket. So if you're in the business of people, like communications, what a privilege. Be wholly into it, because that's what you're taking to the next level. And hopefully, making it better than if you thought PR was dark side, then be the change you want to see. Diba? So hopefully, hindi tayo namamaliit ng mga tao, diba? And hindi tayo yung nag-shun away ng mga media. And so, that for me is vital. It's vital.
I mean, you've already shared a lot of words of wisdom here. But we have a lot of communication and marketing students listening to the podcast and watching us now. For someone who's just getting out into the working world, what did you say to them to wrap things up here?
For students, again, ako, just be present. College is not isolated from the work that you'll be doing. I love orgs. If you can still be part of an org, learn everything that you can there, people skills, the skills that you need. I learned news writing from the Gaidon. That's where I spent my college years. And learn people skills. Yun na naman, people skills talaga. And come into your next space excited to learn. Again, network sa school mo is very, very valuable. Kaya sa akin, it's never isolated eh. Makikita mo rin sila, baka mamaya sila pa i-interviewin mo later on. 'Di ba? So sa akin, just be so present and be excited in that present, in that mindfulness. And then come into the space that you're gonna work for, research, be as prepared as you can, and then leave a little room for magic.
We've been speaking with Michelle Ople, managing partner of Ripple 8 and a longtime journalist. I'm Ryan Macasero. Thank you so much to PRSP and the Pod Network for having us. And we hope you continue to watch the rest of this very informative series. Take care, everyone.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.